What is going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of the All Things Liverpool podcast. It's me, Anish, Dogra. And what a great, last week has been for all Liverpool fans. Honestly, nothing couldn't have gone any better, both in terms of results, the manner of the victories, and the style, and just the whole mood around the club. It's just, we're all on cloud nine, and understandably so, deservedly so. And long may this great form continue, and long may the trophies and the great results continue as well. So let's just get right into it, and where better else to start than at Wembley Stadium on Sunday, beating Chelsea in the Carabao Cup final, our first visit to Wembley in a cup final since 2016 when we lost to Man City in the same competition, also on penalties then, and the first time we won this trophy in 10 years. Exactly 10 years ago was the last time we lifted the trophy. And, back then we had Steven Gerrard was still playing, Jamie Carragher was still playing, Luis Suarez was a Liverpool player, Andy Carroll was, Jordan Henderson was 21 or 22 years old, something like that. So it was just really, really great to get our hands on it. And, domestic success has eluded us for quite a while now. Like I said, it's been 10 years since we last won any kind of domestic trophy. So to get our hands on that, and it's just so important to just establish your mark on on the competitions that are in your country. And yes, financially, it's not the greatest reward in the world. I think our YouTube channel. There was a stat I read a couple of years ago where our YouTube channel makes more money than than it does winning the Carabao Cup. But for the players, for the managers, staff, or everyone involved, it doesn't really matter about the money. It matters that you get silverware and you have the feeling of success that you've beaten teams along the way, and you've had to do had to do a lot of hard stuff to lift that trophy over your head. So wonderful to see that we've got our first trophy, and before had we not won that game, we would have remained level with Manchester City as the record holders for the League Cup. So beating Chelsea now given us our ninth success in the competition. So the best, the best across the country. So another nice little feat. But in terms of the game, if I'm looking at it objectively, I wouldn't say we were lucky to win, because I thought we had chances to win the match on our own. I thought the goal that we had that was disallowed from Joel Matip, I thought that was a bit of a ridiculous decision, if I'm being totally honest. But then on the flip side, we easily could have lost that game, because Romelu Lukaku, for me, he was never onside. I mean, it's a ridiculous call from the officials. I mean, I'm not complaining about it, of course, but if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be absolutely fuming, and I'd still be thinking about it today if I was if I was a Blues fan, because when the pass is played, his feet, which is the last time I checked, is what you need to score with a goal with, other than your head. His feet is behind Van Dijk, who was the last man. And what makes him offside, according to the officials, is his arm. And he's only doing that for starters to point where he wants the ball to go to, because that's that's where he wanted to receive the ball. And for seconds, you can't score with your arm. It's such a stupid decision. And I thought they corrected it from last year. I remember last year there were so many problems with the handball rule, or the use of your arms and your hands in relation to offside. But clearly, it's an absolute mess, and we know it's a big issue when we've seen that twice this weekend, or the weekend just gone. So the Lukaku one, he's offside because his arm is offside, and because he's only pointing to it. And it was the same again for Rodri in the Manchester City Everton game. He got away with murder. It's as simple as that. In any normal person, I mean, Frank Lampard put it perfectly. His 3-year-old daughter, who probably doesn't know much about football, if anything, even she said it was handball. So it's a terrible rule, and the rule is that it's basically your sleeve. It's the sleeve of your arm. So if it's there, it's handball. If it's there, it's not handball. But last time I checked, this is your arm. So what logic is that to rule that as offside, because your sleeve is by definition not part of your arm? So it's an absolutely stupid decision from the officials, from everyone at the FA and everyone in charge of who makes these rules. It needs to be sorted out. And quite simple. If it touches your shoulder, it's a fine goal. If there's anything below your shoulder, then it's a handball. End of discussion. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. So Lukaku for his goal, I thought very unlucky to be offside. Should have stood in my decision, in my opinion. And in general, I thought Chelsea were very, very good. I remember, last week I was talking about this game and previewing it, thinking that it would be a bit of an easier contest compared to the two league games we had against them this season. The one at Anfield in August was a very, very difficult match. Chelsea were very difficult to break down. And then the one in January where we drew 2-2, I thought they were really, I thought we easily could have lost that game because of how poor we were. But Chelsea, and then going forward, and given that was everything that's happened with the club, both on and off the pitch for so many reasons, particularly all the political stuff that's going on right now. Going into the game, many would have thought that Chelsea would be kind of second favourites into this game. I thought so as well, given our form as well. I think we've won 9. We had won 9 in a row now, but 9 in a row prior to that match. And just the mood around the club was very, very good. But they were on the match. They were very, very impressive. And even the chances they had, they should have scored them. Pulisic had a gilt-edged chance in the first 5 minutes. Mason Mount had 2 unbelievable chances. I think the first was right at the end of the first half, where I think he got on the end of a pass and sent his shot just wide. And then the one in the second half, I mean, he probably still hasn't gone to bed because he's still thinking about that chance. I mean, when you're 1-on-1, when you beat our offside trap, which usually catches out everybody, not many attackers time their run well because of how high our line is and how well we hold it. But he timed to perfection, and you have the whole Wembley goal to aim at, and he hits the post. I mean, he won't be thinking about it. It's a very unfortunate miss, and clearly, Mount is a quality player. There's no denying. But even the best of players get nervous on the big occasions. So very very, very unfortunate for him. Should have done better, but we got the luck that we needed. But even in general, Chelsea, they had more than enough chances to win the game. They played very, very well. Kai Havertz, who also scored twice, but both goals were offside. Those were offside goals, and no one complains about that. But I think for them, and as Thomas Tuchel put it, it's the way they played. They'll be disappointed that they haven't won a trophy. Whenever you're in a cup final, you want to bring it home, no matter how badly or how well you play. But for them, and there's still a lot to play for Chelsea this season. They are still the European Cup holders. They're still in the FA Cup, and whilst they are a long way off Manchester City and even us in the Premier League, that will hopefully just give them a bit more belief that they can get over the line and they can still bring some silverware this season. But we also have to talk about the biggest and probably the worst. I'm not going to say the worst call because they've clearly done their research. Chelsea, they did it in the Super Cup final when they played Villarreal. They brought on Kepa to win them the penalty shootout because of how good his record is at penalties. It worked on that occasion, but my lord, didn't it backfire on this occasion? Because Edouard Mendy, in that point, he was man in the match, in my opinion. He made an unbelievable double save in the first half when he denied Naby Keita from range and then got up really quickly to deny Mane from 5 yards out, something like that. So that was unbelievable. He made an unbelievable stop from Van Dijk right at the end of the 90 minutes from a corner. Really good save then. And in general, Edouard Mendy is one of the best in the world. And in my opinion, I think he's probably top 5 in the world, maybe even the best in the Premier League. I think he's definitely up there with Alisson and Edison. So to bring him off, and given that he was he was in great form, he has snuffed out a lot of all the Liverpool players who had a shot on goal against him in the first half. For me, it was a wrong call to take him off. When you've gone that far and when you've done so much for your team, you're going to be in confident mood going into a penalty shootout. And you know how they say that goalkeepers, they have nothing to lose in a penalty shootout, and that is very much the case. But Mendy, undoubtedly, I think he would have brought home the cup for Chelsea because there were 2 or 3 penalties from our side where Kepa didn't save and Mendy would have. I'm thinking of the Kanate one where Kepa got a strong hand onto that, but didn't make didn't do enough. But Mendy would have, in my opinion. And I think there was one other penalty, maybe from Jota as well, where he didn't look particularly confident, but Kepa went one way and Jota just went down the middle. So a bit of fortune there. But either way, and then at the last second, when he has to convert his penalty after all 11 players of Liverpool took their penalties and scored them, he has to step up and take it, and he sends it into row Z pretty much. I mean, I don't know if any of you saw, but a Liverpool fan was very lucky, and and the ball landed at their feet, and they literally took it and they took it home. So a great souvenir for them, but. For Kepa, it was just a really poor evening for him, and and again another Chelsea player who's is going to be thinking about that for a while. So great for us. I'm very happy that we won the Carabao Cup, our 9th time. Commiserations to Chelsea, but it's very important for us, and as you can see there at the bottom, winning the Carabao Cup, I think, is so significant, irrespective of the magnitude of the trophy, because it's not a big trophy. It's the reason why it's the final is played in February, late February, early March, and why the competition starts pretty much for even for the lower league sides, some League Two sides. They're starting their Carabao Cup run in the beginning of August. So for the trophy, it's not the biggest, but for the team who does win it, and as we have seen over the last few years, it breeds that feeling of that hunger to want to win more trophies, to want to lift the Champions League in our case, or the Premier League, or the FA Cup come May or June. So it just gives those players a lot of belief, and it's also like it's kind of going over a bit of a hoodoo, because our record at Wembley since 2012 in finals and semi-finals at Wembley has not been particularly good. That same season, we went back to Wembley to play Chelsea in the FA Cup final, lost that one. 2015, I think one of Gerrard's final last games, lost to Villa in the semi-final of the FA Cup, also went by Wembley. 2016 against Manchester City, lost that one too. So for some of those players who, so obviously some of them haven't gone, but history continues and history carries on. People will remember it, and it's the same for players. They'll be thinking, "Oh my God, this Liverpool team didn't win it for so many years. Now we've got to try and do it." So to get over that line, and although yes, a lot of those players have won the two biggest club trophies in world football over the last 4 or 5 years, however long it's been now, some of the new boys, they will really appreciate that, and they'll be hungry for more. So players like Konate, Tsimikas, Harvey Elliott, who else have we got? Minamino, who had a big role to play in us getting to the final. For those guys to come in and get their first piece of silverware, and to have those winners' medals at home, it breeds so much success and so much confidence for them that will want them to strive for more, to think like, oh my God, this tastes so good, and it's only just a Carabao Cup. Imagine what it will be like if we lift the Premier League or the Champions League. So to have that feeling for those players, it's just vital, and it'll be vital for the whole club, for everyone there. And as omens go, whoever wins the Carabao Cup often goes on to win the Premier League over the last couple of seasons. So Man City last year, they won it. They won the Carabao Cup, won the Premier League. Year before that, they won the Carabao Cup, but didn't win the league. But year before that, they did the same again in 2018. And other teams as well. Chelsea did it in 2015 under Mourinho. They won the Carabao Cup, and then they won the Premier League. So clearly, there's an omen there, and it's probably more than just an omen, because as I keep saying it, when you win that first trophy in February and you still got 15-20 games left of the season, you'll want to win more, and you want to keep winning. So it's vital for us, vital for the club, vital for the players, and hopefully it carries on that great momentum and carries on that great feeling that we can win more silverware this season. And another chance to do it as well on Wednesday. So Wednesday or tomorrow, in fact. So obviously, the annoying thing of winning a Carabao Cup is that you pretty much have no time to celebrate it. I mean, Jurgen Klopp said it in his pre-match press conference today. They celebrated it on Monday night. Then the players had a day off on Monday, and that's it. Now it's done. So it's in the trophy cabinet. The Champions Wall in Liverpool has been updated, but that's it. No more celebrations until until the end of the season, where hopefully you win another trophy to go alongside it. So full focus now on Norwich tomorrow night in the FA Cup 5th round. Again, a really good opportunity to make another step closer to Wembley. If we beat Norwich, which hopefully we should, and we will. We'll be in the quarterfinals, and then when you're in that stage, when you get to the quarterfinals, you're then one game from Wembley. I don't particularly agree that semi-finals should be at Wembley because it's the home of English football. It's the league stadium in the country. A semi-final isn't something shouldn't be played at a stadium where you'll be back again to actually win it. So, for whatever, it doesn't really matter too much. But when you're there, it's almost like a mini final because you want to come back again. You want to come back and lift the trophy. So, a great opportunity tomorrow against Norwich. I expect a lot of changes. I reckon Kelleher will start in goal. I think Konate will play. He came on for Joel Matip in extra time on Sunday. I expect Joe Gomez to start. Simicast, I reckon, will start. Diaz, I think, will play. Hopefully, Jota's fit enough to get some minutes into him. Thankfully, his injury wasn't too long, and he was back on the bench against Chelsea and also came on. So I reckon he'll start. Harvey Elliott hopefully will come in. Curtis Jones, Oxlade-Chamberlain. So again, a real opportunity for these players. And as we saw in the Carabao Cup over the course of the competition, those kind of players are the reason why we won it. The reason why we got to the final. The impact they made in third, fourth, quarter-final rounds. Was really important. So players like Oxlade-Chamberlain have another chance of putting himself into Liverpool folklore, into being one of the players who made a big impact in getting the club into a final and helping them win the final. Same with Divock Origi, same with Takumi Minamino. Two other players who I think will feature tomorrow. So a great chance, against Norwich at home. The atmosphere will undoubtedly be absolutely rocking. I think all the Liverpool fans will be on an absolute high. After what happened on Sunday. So a great chance again. But to be fair, Norwich, I think they will pose a bit of a threat. As we saw in the league game a couple of weeks ago, they were much tougher to get past and to get the better of compared to what they used to be under Daniel Farke. So Dean Smith has done a very good job. They're tougher to beat. I still think they will go down because there's just not enough quality there. But you can see the improvements he's made in the team since he took charge, and although same again for us, the FA Cup isn't a big priority. It'll be even more so for them because their aim is to get out of relegation if they can still do it. They're not. I don't think they're completely cut drip at the bottom, but they've still got a lot of work to do to try and finish 17th this season. But as we saw in the league game, I expect a tough match. One where we'll have to probably be patient. Maybe might go in at 0-0 at halftime. But as we've seen with this Liverpool team, they will remain patient for as long as it takes, and that's what you got to do in matches like these. Teams where they will come to Anfield and make themselves very difficult to to beat and to get past. So remain calm, and as we've seen this season, the players, they have delivered. They've been instrumental this season in key moments in every single match this season, and I expect them to hopefully do the same tomorrow. Now, that obviously leaves us with one trophy already secured in the bag. We're still officially, we are in contention for all three trophies. So as we've already talked about Norwich, a great chance to make it to the quarterfinals. And then once you're there, you're so close to Wembley and then so close to winning another one. Champions League, of course, we beat Inter Milan a couple of weeks ago 2-0 at their ground. So although you can never say never in the Champions League, as we've proven over the years, you'd like to think that we'll get the job done in a couple of weeks' time when they come to Anfield. And then in the quarterfinals, hopefully we'll get some. I think there are still a few easy teams left in the competition, so hopefully we could draw one of those. And then, of course, I think the biggest question, which is on everybody's mind, is the Premier League. So, whilst technically things are in our hands, if we win however many games we have left, I think it's like 13 or something. Let's just have a look quickly. 12 games left. So, technically, if we win every single one of those, we will win the title because we're 6 points behind Manchester City with the game in hand. So you win that, you take it to 3, and then of course everyone's talking about it. Everyone will be talking about it until that day comes. That big match on the 9th of April at the Etihad, where we need to win that match, to go above them. Any scrappy 1-0 win will do. Thankfully, our goal difference, because of that big win against Leeds a couple of weeks ago, it really helped our goal difference, and I think it put us up to 50 now, which is 4 better than theirs. So it could, it still could come down to it. So big wins are very important. So yeah, any win at the Etihad will technically take us above them on goal difference, and then simply just need to win every single one of our matches. But I still think it's a very, very tough task because, just looking at our Premier League fixtures, we've got West Ham again this Saturday, a tough team, a team who've already beaten us this season, and, one that will be going, still have a lot to play for with, Champions League ambitions in mind. Then we have Brighton the week after. Again, Brighton, always a difficult match. In fact, we haven't beaten them 3 games now that I remember, because last season we drew 1-1 in their ground and then they beat us 1-0 at ours. And then this season they should have beaten us again at Anfield. We were 2-0 up. I think got dragged back to 2-2 and then lucky enough to get a point from that game. But then, we still got Arsenal away, Manchester United at home, Watford at home, who will still be scrapping for points. Then, of course, the big game of Man City, Villa away. Steven Gerrard, of course. Hopefully, he might do us a favor. But I knowing him and then again, as we saw in the league game earlier this year, Villa were very hard to beat. Everton at home, of course, Merseyside derby. Everton, they have nothing to play for this season, but there'll be nothing more than they will want nothing more but to screw us over in the league, in the title race. Newcastle away, which is a very tough game. Eddie has done an unbelievable job for Newcastle, and I think they're now like 6 or 7 games unbeaten, which is quite remarkable, and it's now taken them up to mid-table in the Premier League. So Newcastle, very difficult game. And then in May as well, we've got Tottenham at home, Southampton away, which is a tricky game again. Southampton done very well this season, and Wolves at home, who are arguably, in my opinion, probably the toughest team to break down out of everyone, really. We took a 94th minute winner from Origi in the game at their ground to win us a match. So winning the quadruple, still very much possible, still technically possible. And, as long as we somehow win all of our games, we can do it. But as any top team says, and as the players will always say, and the manager will always say, one game at a time. You just got to take the next game as it comes. So beat Norwich tomorrow, get yourself in the draw for the quarterfinals, and then just see what happens after that. But anyways, that's all we got for today, guys. Hope you all enjoy this podcast. We'll be back again next week to talk about the game against West Ham and preview the Inter Milan game, and then we'll have some discussion as well about who will be facing in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. So take care, and we'll see you all next week.